she puts it this time?
The,
Yeah, you know.
Me? Oh, yeah, I got a file on her.
oh, she, Marietta,
Kinda good one.
and Strickland is from McDonough.
Yeah, what's going on?
And we'll come back to McLaren.
Good
Yeah.
spinning.
Okay.
Come to the show.
What's wrong?
Hey there.
How are you?
Trouble.
What organization are you with?
Well, we're just actually just regular people that have questions about the election.
Here, y'all
Hello.
can come in and.
Thank you very much.
Just come in and pound it right over here.
I'm gonna sit here right in front of Old Glory.
I don't think they're gonna all fit in here, yeah. It's a group.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you
Kay?
guys doing?
You're
I
well.
don't have room for you all in my office.
That's quite all right.
Okay, Kirkpatrick.
Gavel copy.
Katie, we get you in the middle of lunch.
You what?
If we get you in the middle of lunch, we're
I was
sorry.
just fixing to go to lunch, so no, not yet.
We won't take much of your time. I'm
Hey,
Tony
that's
Harris.
okay.
Jim Smith, Cherokee
Hi.
County, nice to
I'm
meet
with
you.
Thank you for seeing us.
County.
Sure.
Very nice to meet you. We just have a few questions. I was just wondering, do you believe that the 2020 election was stolen?
No.
No. What
I
is
think there was fraud, and I think we need to get to the bottom of the fraud, and I don't think we're done with that yet.
Okay, so you think that there was fraud. So if there was fraud in the election, do you agree that that makes the election null and void?
It depends on what the extent of it was, whether there would have been enough to overturn the election.
Do you believe that there are problems with these voting machines, with the Dominion voting machines? Do you think we have issues that need to be fixed, or we?
I think there's more we can do. I think the updates, the lack of the updates on the machines is very concerning, and the Senate is working on that. We're trying to get the Secretary of State to do the updates that are needed, just like you would do.
How do we make that happen in warp speed, since we are on a short fuse?
I think there will likely be some legislation, but I'm not on the Ethics Committee anymore. Senator Barnes is in charge of that committee, and I know that there's a group of senators and the Lieutenant Governor who have gone and met with the Secretary of State on that. And if it's a matter of funding, then we need to provide the funding to make that happen.
Well, what we have is now we've been able to see lots of evidence that show massive amounts of fraud. But we can't get Brad to look at it. How do we get that right in front of him? How do we get Brad to sit down and put it right in front of him?
He's a constitutional
I
officer.
understand.
So we only have a limited amount of what we can do. We can make laws, but in terms of what he does, we can't make him do anything. The voters can.
Can I ask you a question? Since the evidence exists on such a large scale, and it does exist, how is it that someone like Brad Raffensperger will not look at it when that's his job to secure it all?
He has to be responsible for his own actions. I'm responsible for what
No,
I
no,
do.
and I know.
And
You're an
there's-
insider over here,
There's
so just
nothing I
curious.
can do to make him do anything because he's a constitutional officer. Over here, I'm accountable for working in the Senate on legislation, and he's responsible for his own, the way he approaches.
Well, see, I think a lot of us that are really questioning the whole election and the integrity of it, we just want transparency. Let us see it. If no matter
you
what the
probably know
result
that I have a
is.
bill on that, Senate Bill 122. If you're not aware of that, you should be. That's a bill for ballot transparency. And it didn't pass last year. It got combined with some other bills by the Ethics Committee, but you may want to look that up.
I mean, doesn't it seem like the most basic of function that transparency is key?
Well, that's why I did the bill.
I mean,
Yeah.
isn't
You
it
don't have to
crazy?
try to convince me of that.
No,
I've already
you
written a
don't.
bill on that.
Okay, that's what we want to know. That's what
So
we
Do
want
you,
to know.
so look
what
that
do you
one up.
think that using the Dominion machines, I mean, to market the ballots, to count the ballots and everything, what's the positives of that? What does it say?
Well, we have 11 million people in Georgia, and so hand counting ballots is a tall order. And so we use digital for pretty much everything now, right? Banking, maybe not everybody does, but we do a lot of things digital. Even the SAT's gone digital. So, can I finish?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, I understand the concern about the QR codes, and we asked that question in the Appropriations Committee, and we talked about providing funding to do that a different way. I don't know what's gonna happen with that. Again, I'm not on the committee anymore, but I think there is an effort to try to get rid of the QR codes, which is a big part of what people are concerned about. And so that's on the table.
Yeah. I mean, use phones for everything, they do digital everything, but there is a lot of, would you agree that there's a lot of hacking and things that goes on, people gets their accounts hacked and stuff. So
Yeah.
therefore, you know, these
Yeah,
machines.
I don't see all the world going back to paper for paying their bills or banking or any
Yeah, I
of
mean,
that
I think-
anymore.
But if that's the
I
only
think
way to
that's
get-
the world we're living in.
For
If that's the
voter
only
integrity, I
way to
think
get
it'd
an
be worth
honest
it.
count, though, then that may be what,
What?
I said, if that's the only way to get an honest count, that may be the way we need to go. We've even got Dominion on record saying that their machines are crap. That's their quote. Their
Well,
machines are crap.
Have
And so, I
you
mean,
read the Haldeman report?
I've skimmed it, but not for a long time. I haven't looked at it
So
recently.
the release of the Haldeman report, as well as this, so they found the highlight of the crucial, or the critical vulnerabilities with the Dominion machines. There was evidence found in DeKalb County in 2022, Ware County and Coffee County in 2020, and the machines miscounted votes. And can you explain the continued inaction to get rid of the machines? If Georgians don't want the machines, then why do we have them?
I would say that, again, those decisions are based around, they start with the law, but then the way they're set up and enforced and the procurement process and all that, that's executive branch. So there's only so much control. I'm sure you've read the Constitution. There's separation of powers.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Branch, legislative branch, judicial branch. A lot of this is tied up in the judiciary right now. A lot of it's still in court, as you know.
Yes.
The Secretary of State's office has chosen to operate the way that they're chosen to operate. He was elected, and
Was
you
he
know
elect-
that's
was he elected?
Yeah, was he?
well, he's still
Well, we
there.
have a big question.
So
Right,
all I
he's
can
still
say
there,
is,
And you would think a man like him would say, you know what? We need to see how it happened. We need to see what it looks like in its entirety.
well,
The fact that he won't speaks volumes about him.
well, that's
I know. That's not you. I'm just
right.
sharing.
So
from
in the
me.
Senate, we're working on what we can do. We're trying to put pressure on that office to do the updates that are needed, and we're working on bills. And as I said, I did the Senate Bill 122, and I've been in contact with Mr. Favorito, who says that bill is a number one priority for him this year.
Sounds good.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, I agree with getting to the bottom of whatever happened.
Absolutely.
That's what we
So-
want.
I mean,
That's
it
what we
should
wanna
be.
hear.
And this is for both sides, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter
Yeah, it
who
doesn't
you
matter
are,
what
you
the
know,
outcome
needs,
is.
that
Republican,
needs
Democrat,
to
everybody.
go on until we have the answers. And so, part of it is in the courts though, and again, that's a different.
But, so we were told that there was no audit. Do you believe there was an audit?
Wait, who told you there was no audit? That's clearly not true.
So there was an audit?
so we're,
Can you tell
There
us,
were
can
audits,
you,
there were hand counts,
can you tell us
there were
where
risk
to
limiting
find that
audits per the
information?
law.
Hand
I don't know
counts,
the
not
details
audit.
on that, because that's, you know, not what I do.
And audit goes deeper than just hand count. Hand count, you're recounting the votes again that you don't know that they're real or not. So they gotta go deeper to find out if they're
the audit is not a recount.
votes. Yeah, it's just,
Well, that's why we need ballot transparency, and so
Right,
that's why I put that
exactly.
bill.
Do you think going back to paper ballots would be
I don't believe in paper ballots. I don't think they're more secure. I can just imagine stacks of paper ballots sitting around that people can steal. I just don't think that's the answer.
Or feed back through a machine a second time.
I'm sorry.
Or be able to feed back through a machine a second time if they're counting them.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
That's-
before
that's
we
the
had
thing.
paper
We
ballots,
still use paper. I mean, you go to the courthouse to vote, they give you a piece of paper, you put it in the machine, you do your thing, you look at it, you feed it through the machine. So it can be done. I mean, I think
Right.
they don't need the machine. I mean, they're
Right.
trying to make it quicker or whatever, but
Well,
you know,
they
like
have
you
to be
say,
tabulated somehow or another.
credit
Just like-
cards, cell phones, everything can be hacked, and so we think that's the reason why
But, you
digital is
know-
not the best thing.
Yeah, well, I just think that paper is also vulnerable to fraud all over the place. We've seen boxes of ballots that have been stolen from election, you know, supposedly locked up places. So I think there's problems both ways. And, you know, we just have to be sure that there's security and transparency throughout the
but
process.
it seemed like when we did have paper ballots, we didn't have so much of the fraud going on. You know, because that's what we had before we came up with the machines. And we did better when we had paper
Well,
ballots.
that was
Then we did.
a long
Yeah,
time ago.
We might need to go back to that.
That was like
Yes.
20 I don't know how long we've been using voting machines in Georgia, but I think it's, maybe goes all the way back to since I moved here in 1986, before that. I mean, it's
So,
been,
if
we've been
we-
using
if we
some
went-
type
I
of
know in 91.
electronic voting for many, many
But
years,
what
so.
if we went back to a hand-marked, hand-counted ballot on security-grade paper while filming the count at precincts? You still wouldn't be comfortable with that?
Wait, what? That's a lot of things in one sentence.
It's hand-marked,
Okay.
hand-counted paper ballots on security paper
So it can't
and
be
hand
duplicated.
counted at the precinct.
Well, what do you do about the possibility of, paper ballots floating around that have not been, that don't have a serial number on them, that can be stolen? How do you
That's-
secure that?
That's the security
That's-
paper.
That's
No,
the
security
security-grade
paper is
paper.
not the same thing as putting a serial number on a
Serial
ballot.
number. I like that.
Okay,
You can
yeah,
track your
I-
money.
Put a serial number on it then.
Well, that's not what she asked me.
Okay, well, we're here to solve problems.
Yeah, we're just.
Right,
gonna
well,
figure
don't
it
mi-
out. Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to
So
do.
no, what she's
I have put
saying is
forth a
maybe there
bill
was security
that
number.
I was told was very important for voting security.
Mhm.
That was what I did. And I am supporting my colleagues that are going over to try to get the Secretary of State's office to do the upgrades that need to be done and to close the loopholes that were identified in that report. And so I'm supporting them all the way on doing that. But I
applaud
can't,
you for that.
For that.
We do
But I
appreciate,
can't-
Thank you.
we do
but I
appreciate that.
can't
No,
make
there,
that office do anything.
We're,
That's.
we're
We
not
understand.
here-
We're-
We're not here to ridicule you, ma'am. We're just here to ask questions because
So
we
are you
need
gonna put this on
transparency.
social
And to get a,
media?
We need
and get a
transparency.
consensus.
Are you gonna put that on social media?
Probably, yes.
only the best part.
Yeah, I feel like, you guys are trying to gotcha me.
No, no,
Hmm.
no. we're
Absolutely not.
That's
we're
not,
not
that's
We're,
not what
we're trying to
here
be
for.
part of the solution. We just want, we want honest opinions. We want the answers to the questions that we're asking. These are the concerns that voters have. So we're not here to get anybody. We're here to try to change things for the
Right.
better so that we have a proper
Okay, I thank
representation.
you, because we have talked to a few already who just,
They just wouldn't talk to us at all.
and that's.
And you've
that's
taken the time to
sad.
talk to us,
So
and
thank you.
we do
That speaks
appreciate
volumes.
that.
Thank
Speaks
you.
volumes, ma'am.
That you
Thank
care about the election and care about
I do care about it.
and integrity.
She said she wanted to know, get to the bottom of it, find out what.
Right.
Hey, she's put a bill together. Who else
Yep,
has done
that's
anything?
awesome.
So we're gonna give her an atta girl
And,
big
and
time.
that's gonna be on the social media too, that you have this bill out there.
Yeah, well,
This is not a
mind
one-sided, this is not a
if we do
one-sided
that?
We're not
thing.
gonna cherry pick,
that's
no.
fine.
Yeah, we wanna lift,
Yeah,
you-
we're
we
not
wanna
gonna-
lift you
we're
up
not
for that.
gonna edit or take anything out and take anything out of context that you've said. We just want to know exactly how you feel across the board
Right.
and
Well, and when it comes down to it, I mean, ultimately, we vote red or green down here. That's what we do. I voted for Senate Bill 202. It cleaned up a lot of problems. It wasn't everything. You can't pass everything that you want at one time. It just
Yeah.
isn't possible. That's not how it works
They
down here.
stick bills in there with other things and you don't want them, so they shouldn't be able to do that. I wish they'd just, one
A
thing at a
one-page
time.
deal.
Yeah, but we're on a
Hey,
mission. We only got 10 months.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but it seems that a lot of the elected officials seem to not be privy to the information that we're able to come up with. And so we want the opportunity to tell you guys,
Yeah.
to tell any of the elected officials, hey, look, there is more information out there
There
and
is.
it needs to be looked at again.
Well,
Because
I-
just to see a report, hold, let me finish.
Yeah.
Just to see a report of something, oh, okay, yeah, this has already been looked at, and then leave it alone. That's not gonna cut it anymore. We've got to stand up and we've got to fix what's wrong. It's already been wronged several elections before, and if we don't fix it now, it's just gonna get worse.
And then people just get to where they don't even go vote no more.
I
It's like,
think
you
there's,
know,
well, that's,
doesn't do
that
good.
to me is the wrong answer.
Yeah.
Because if you don't vote, there's no chance your vote's gonna count.
Absolutely.
Right.
Correct.
If you vote,
100%.
But we have a
hopefully your
large
vote's gonna
majority,
count, but if you don't vote,
we have a
your vote's
large
not gonna
majority
count.
of people now who are convinced that their vote doesn't count.
Well, that's unfortunate,
It is.
because, that's
So-
one of our rights that people have fought and died for in the
Agreed.
United States,
Absolutely.
and I think not exercising that right is wrong.
So coming up on the 2024 presidential election, do you feel secure with our elections the way that they are right now? If you went to vote right now, would you feel secure that everybody's vote's gonna be counted right? Everything's gonna be right across the board? There's no doubt in your mind
I
that
think there's been fraud in every election since the beginning of time, and I'm sure there will be problems with every election going forward. I would like to see us do everything we can to make sure that the elections are transparent and that we can catch anything fraudulent that happens and prosecute it. Because I don't think we're ever gonna have an election that's completely 100%.
Hey, she's put a bill on the
I have to
table.
agree with that.
Yep, she's done.
Senator Kay Kirkpatrick, we thank you for
We
taking
do.
the time
Okay.
Thank you so
To
much.
to talk with us.
Are any
For
of you in
coming
my
back.
district?
Thank you.
Are
I'm
any
in
of you in my
Cherokee.
district?
I'm in
No.
Woodstock.
No,
You're
but,
fine.
but you're one of the ones that would talk to us.
Yeah, so we
Well,
appreciate
I'm
you.
happy to talk to anybody anytime. so.
Well,
We appreciate
we've
your
heard
time.
everything from, they're not in, they're gone to
Maybe.
lunch till you need an appointment.
Well, thanks
So-
for
Fulton County,
Cobb and Cherokee.
Cobb.
Oh, Tom Cherokee.
Okay.
But Cherokee Southwest, west
Well,
of
I think that some
75.
of Cobb we just got some of Cobb put in our 14th district with the redistricting maps, but I'm not really sure what part.
Yeah, I've got more City Marietta going up 75 corridor and then half on District Cherokee, west of 575.
And I understand it can be a little intimidating, so we just pointing a camera at your
Yeah, I don't
face.
really
It's,
mind that.
I understand, but this is, ultimately, it's come down to where we're gonna have to hold
so
all of
we
our
are-
elected officials
So we
accountable.
are not a part of any per se group.
We're not going
Okay?
after
We're
anybody, we are
not-
strictly individuals.
We are individuals.
Well,
that
there are
have got
people that
together.
are going after people that are elected officials who are really here to try to do something good, and it's frustrating because you know.
It is frustrating, and you know, for those of us who really want the transparency, it's not that you weren't elected or he wasn't. We just want to see the results, the transparency, and whoever was the winner, okay, we'll accept that. But when someone says no, we can't check it, we can't audit it, we can't review it, take it as it is.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
Well, thanks for coming down to the
Thank you,
Capitol.
guys.
Thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kay. You have a blessed day, ma'am. We appreciate your time.